Well, let's go, guys. It's 7. Let's hit the road before the sun comes out.
I said, let's go. Everybody's standing around like they don't want to ride.
The new rider. Good morning.
So,
my name's Eldred. What's your name?
That was Jadir.
You've been here before?
He's been here
Okay.
before.
Okay. All right, guys, let's go. Hey!
That's Blocker.
Blocker. Let's go. You're right on time.
On the right.
Let's do this.
So on this ride, rolled into the woodlands, we picked up the group at the Alden Village Center, headed out on Research Forest, Fishcreek Blvd, all the way up into Honie. We took Capitol Hill Road, the Rabon Chapel, Mill Route to 2854, which is freshly paved. All of that's on film. After Taco Corner off film, we went through the forest, up to Bethel Road, came down on Bethel, back to Johnson there, to Dacus, 1486, Mount Moriah. We stopped in Dobbins, then we went on 1486 to Jackson, back to 1488 once we got down Mount Magnolia towards the Woodlands, Texas. I think you will like the clips we got for you. It was a very good ride, spirited pace. The group has gotten consistently faster, and we look forward to each week as always.
Taking down any more barricades?
No, I have not.
That's Tanya Blocker. This is her second ride with us. In a little bit, she's gonna say she wants us to hold on for a bit, and then she checks her rear tire and she finds that it's soft.
The fall temperatures are coming. I can feel it.
It's 23°C, man. We haven't been this low in a long time.
Sure.
This was a very pleasant morning. So she said, "Can we stop for a moment?" I said, "Sure."
My back tire is
The back tire is soft, and so she said, "Roll slow." She's going back to her car, and we just roll.
I know.
Now,
I know. You're thinking what I'm thinking.
The backstory here is that this is Tanya's second ride with this group. Her first ride last week, she showed up with a flat tire, and before she got there, she texted the group. We're on Research Forest Boulevard here, warming up. She texted the group saying, "Anybody got a pump? My pump messed up. I was fixing my tire this morning or whenever." Anyway, so Tommaso Anselmi had a pump in his car. So she gets there to helping her. I don't know what the issue was. I guess they put a tube in there, it didn't hold, whatever. Anyway, the group ended up being almost 15 minutes behind schedule. That was last week. The first one's on us. The subsequent ones are on you. When you show up for a group ride, be ready. When you show up for a meeting at work, be ready. Get your work clothes ready the night before so that you're on time, because time moves faster in the morning. If you haven't cocoa, coffee, whatever, you can ease into your morning, get dressed and go instead of running around, "Oh, what am I going to wear?" Be squared away, as Mike Barreras always says. Be prepared. So when you show up for a group ride like this with a flat tire, what that tells me, and then you do it 2 weeks in a row, that tells me you're not checking your bike. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that's when you check your bike. Usually my Friday ride, I'm checking what I'm going to be using on Saturday. I go for a short little spin, sightsee, smell the air. I check all the equipment, I'll put it on the stand. Whatever it is your routine is, check your stuff. Don't show up at the ride surprise. Then when you get up in the morning, in fact, I air up my tires the night before. When I get up in the morning, I squeeze them. So as you're loading your bike in the car, if you drive to the ride or whatever, squeeze the tires, make sure they're ready. Something like a flat tire is so minor, it should not stop you from running. It's one thing from riding. It's one thing if you have a major mechanical that pops up that you were not aware of. That's different. And you may not be able to ride anyway. But a flat tire, I mean, come on. So, you need to check that. And then to do it 2 weeks in a row, it's not, some people get up 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever. Some people ride to the ride. From different destinations, they show up. and some people drive there. These guys are in the parking lot when I get there. We've been getting there between 6:50, 6:55. And we're the ride starters. I already told Paul we need to be getting there 6:45, 6:50, so that if we have a flat, we have a few minutes to play with. And that's our plan, because I don't want these guys waiting. Okay, so yeah, she didn't get to ride with us, and that's what happens. If you don't prepare, you don't get to do things. So it's just kind of that's just the way life is. You got to plan. And it's clear that I mean, she's an experienced rider. She's not new, so we rolled like we normally roll, like you see. We're rolling almost 17, 18 miles an hour, whatever, and we just went on the road. You know, there's no way I'm not gonna hold up the group 2 weeks in a row. So maybe she'll learn from it and be prepared next time. So that's the key. Anything you want to do in life, you got to be prepared. You're taking a long drive, you check the air pressure in your car tires, you make sure that the car is maintained. You know what I'm talking about. You're driving far away from home or whatever on a long trip, make sure your car is squared away. Even short trips, who wants to be hassled with car problems? So you got to keep your cars maintained preventatively. Same thing with the bicycle. Bicycles take us far away from home. I hate calling for rides when I'm on a bicycle. I want to ride there and ride back. I want the kilometers in my legs, not on my rear sitting in a car. So you know what I mean. So that's the lesson from here. But we're not going to hold up the group. That's another reason people like coming to our rides. We're prompt. We head out. We do necessary stops. You know, if the weather changes and it's very hot, we add stops that may not necessarily be on the route. But we're able to do that because we leave on time. And people can plan the rest of their day around our rides, knowing that, hey, these guys are rolling out 7:01, 7 o'clock. You know, we clip in at 7. You heard me. Let's go. Everybody's still chatting. Okay, this is Roy in the Burgundy here. We stop at the light. I think Mike Bradbury is looking back to see if he sees Tanya, but he does not. So that means the problem was bigger than we expected.
Yeah, that's the real wheel. I just said I'm excited.
So these films are for all of us to learn from each other. They're not to make anybody look great or anybody to look bad. Because I've gotten feedback from different directions, most of which I ignore because people who are seeking knowledge understand the purpose. The purpose of these films are to see what your fellow cyclists are doing, and it is my responsibility to tell you, hey, this stuff you see, man, it's not a great idea. Like if somebody runs a red light or if somebody runs a stop sign, I can't just put a film on YouTube that makes it look like it's okay to show somebody running a stop sign on a bicycle. I gotta say, hey, don't do that. Don't copy that. That's what this is about. It's not about the person you see. It is about the action, or the action that has occurred, and whether you want to mirror that or emulate that. You remember in the pro peloton, there was a trend recently where these guys would drape their hands over the bars when they were in the aero position with no control, near like in the middle of the stem and the handlebars. And the UCI has banned that. Well, the reason the UCI did that primarily, of course, a reason was the safety of the riders, but the effect of professional riders being emulated by younger cyclists, amateur cyclists, or whatever, that are not in the UCI. That was one of their reasons as well. They don't want to set a trend where you can ride down the road with no steering control. That was part of the reason. It wasn't just rider safety, although that was one of the reasons. They don't want the younger kids copying these guys. The kids look up to their heroes, so to speak. And so they've banned that. You can't be draping your hand on a bar. You can do it on your own, but not in their events. They don't want to show that on film because people can be affected or influenced behind others.
Because I remember you turn around.
Because if the pros are doing it, yeah, it's okay. And, these are the guys selling bikes. I mean, not necessarily flagging us to buy them, but they're showing us the latest styles, in jerseys and helmets and whatever. And people say, oh, man, I saw that guy wearing it. Let me go try that. I mean, that's where I see some helmets. And then people send them to the channel, and I decide, okay, I'm going to put it on the film here. So we all are subject to being influenced by what the professionals do and some of the things they're wearing. That's the reason. So when I put a film out here, it is important that I specify, okay, this is something you want to copy, and here's why. This is something you don't want to copy. That's why I always try to say why.
Hope you get,
so that the people who are logical,
I'm
not just saying don't do it.
Some people to return with you at there.
That's important.
Do you know
Roy? Yeah. That
So
Roy
I'm not doing these films to be popular. I'm doing these films to share my experiences, my knowledge,
because his name is Roy
and
too.
I always explain why. Because I don't have all the answers. No one does. But I put logic behind. People put comments on the channel. I like to see them because what they say is, I like your common sense approach. And that's really what it is. A lot of it, I don't need a law to tell me I gotta hold my handlebars. I mean, that's just common sense. I don't do a lot of hands-free riding unless most of the time when I do that, I'm by myself and the winds are calm. I never take my hands off the bar if I'm going very fast, like down the hill. This is Kenny here. They will say you're going the wrong way. But he's doing a different ride today. Kenny rides with us usually. He's doing a different ride. But then what I was saying is, if the bike is going, let's say, 20 miles an hour, 32K, and we're going downhill, you're not going to see me taking my hands off the bar. Why? Because that might be a gust of wind or something that might blow my bars. Doesn't mean that necessarily will happen, but it may happen. So I mostly take my hands off the bar when we're on roads like these. It's just flat, I'm by myself, or I make sure I back off the group. Oh, those of you who saw more in an earlier video a few weeks ago, he was to the left by the yellow line getting his sandwich out. No wheel in front of him, by himself, controlling that bike. And you control your bike by keeping your cadence up when you do hands-free, because that gives you more control with your hips.
Clear.
And I probably should have pointed that out. But yeah, so if you're going to be doing hands-free, don't be doing it behind a wheel. And don't be doing it going fast, because what if wind hits you? Stuff happens. I'm back there. We just turned onto Fishcreek Blvd. But those are the kind of things I try to point out. So my attitude is not like, oh, I know it all. No, I explain why I believe. And then people come on the channel and say, oh, we like your common sense approach because it appeals to them. It's just logical. Why not try it? Because why sit up on a fast descent when a gust of wind might blow your handlebars off track and cause you to fall? That can happen. So when you're descending fast, it's not the time to do hands-free. Put your hands on the bar. Don't be cute. Hold that sucker. Or if there's a lot of debris, keep your hands on the bars. Because if you hit something and your hands are on the bar, you're most likely to maintain control. Just keep that in mind. Just be cautious. That's all. You don't need to be scared or anything, but it just needs to make sense. The what ifs need to be dealt with. What if this person, like right here with this kind of distance, Paul can do hands-free. This road is flat. We're not going very, very fast. We're doing 25K, but it's a flat road. You're not descending. When you're descending, the wind can change a lot more than when you're on a flat road. So keep that in mind. Avoid doing hands-free on descents. It's just not safe. And it doesn't matter how steep the descent is. Just anytime you have increasing speed, keep your hands on the handlebars. I've seen a lot. I've been on the bicycle for a very long time. That's what that's about. So whenever you're in the group, avoid doing hands-free in the pace line behind a wheel. Because two things. You make the person behind you nervous. First of all, it may look cute, but you're taking a risk that involves them as well. Pull out of the line, make sure your front wheel is clear, then sit up and do whatever it is that made you do that, and then come back when you're done. Just like we pull out the line to blow our nose and stuff like that. That's better, so that you're not endangering other people. At this point, I go ahead and roll up. You know, the ride is kind of starting. I'm going to roll up and get in front of Paul. It helps me synchronize these films. I want to make sure I'm in some of the clips. So I hope what I've been talking about will help you. That's what these films are about. The person involved or persons involved don't matter. Even if I call their name, it's not about that person. It's about the action. I may have said that earlier, but I want to reiterate that. We're not trying to make anybody look bad. We want you guys to learn from what we do. And so when we do what's not too safe, I'm going to point it out. Even if I'm the one doing it, I will point it out. Because there's a certain responsibility I put on these films by putting it out on YouTube. I don't know what audience will see it, and I want them to learn the right things from it. Because we're people, we make mistakes. So I want to give the correct information as a baseline. You take it and then you can do your own modifications. You won't see me doing any kind of hands-free following another wheel. Especially here, like look at this. We're going faster, almost 30 miles an hour. And you see how the trees are on the side? That there are certain sections where there may not be that many trees or bushes or whatever. That's when you can get surprised by a gust of wind or whatever. And that's why you should not be taking your hands off the bars. I don't trust my front end on bicycles. That's just the way it is. The front end is for turning, and so it's one of the weak points on the bike. These are the same wheels that were involved in the crash, and I answered a question on the channel. They're riding great and everything. I'm a little dismayed that I got that little blemish on the rim, but it's still holding. And so, you know, I'm not going to throw them away because these bad boys are not cheap. So I'm looking into adding the Zip 202s. Those of you, feel free to leave some comments when you watch the film about your experience with Zip 202s. I've never owned them. I've been reading about them, and supposedly they're a very good all-around wheel. These are the 303s that I have on there. As a habit, whenever possible, if I can, I always remove the Zip label. I don't particularly like advertising for the manufacturers. I mean, first of all, they're not paying me, but second of all, some of their decals look a little gaudy. There's some of them that look really cool, like the dark matte black ones on the kind of like a gray carbon rims that look really cool. Those are cool. I'll leave those there. But I took the decals off. They were like white when I got these wheels. And they were just too loud. It's like you're riding down the road trying to tell everybody you're riding Zip wheels. I know what the wheels are. I don't need to advertise. So, but the 202s I'm not familiar with. I've been reading about them, that they're great for climbing. They accelerate really well. And they're comparable or close to the performance of the 303s. They probably can't compete with, definitely not the 808. The 808s are for just straight line, speed. They got their own issues as well. You need a lot of extenders with them. But I'm shopping for the 202s right now. And these guys want almost $3,500 for some of those wheels. I can get a nice frame for that price. And that's about what I paid. I think I paid like $4,000 for my titanium frame, and it's custom built. So yeah, it just hurts me to buy wheels for the price that I can get a tie frame, because I'd much rather make me another tie frame for that price. So I'm going to be looking in the used market. And that's another thing you got to be careful about. Make sure the condition is good. You can inspect them. They're pretty good. So I will not be buying the new 202s. They're all good. Got to save some. A penny saved is a penny earned. Let's put it that way. I'll look for good copies elsewhere. But I'm riding tubular tires, aka sew-ups, and I love the performance. I got to race on them a long time ago. It's a little more practical owning them, as I've said in more recent videos, because I use stands no tubes when I do get a puncture. I've used them. I have them in the rear right now because several months ago, probably about 6 months or so ago, I was in the city and got a puncture, a small one, and I put them in there, and they've been fine since. I don't put them in there ahead of time like some riders I read online will do. They'll get a new set of tubeless and just put sealant in them. I carry stands with me, and on our very long rides, I carry a spare tubular tire. I fold it, put it in a plastic bag, and stick it in my pocket. I tried tying it on a bike one time, and over a long ride, it fell off. Now, you see we're riding 22, 23 miles an hour. The title of this video says Group Pacing. So your goal should be, if you want to finish the ride with the group, you listen to yourself. And I talked about it before. I don't have any headphones in my ear or anything. I'm listening to my legs. I'm listening to the sensations of what I feel. I had a very good training week. I was able to get enough rest. My problem has been getting up tired because I'm doing other stuff. That has nothing to do with cycling. I'm adjusting my mirror a little bit. But anyway, I'd get up tired in the morning. I have time to ride, but I'm tired. And I'd be like, I don't even want to get on the bike. That's how tired I was. Let the rider behind me go. That was stopping. I like to do that instead of saying stopping, slowing, all that yelling. Too much yelling. You know, Mike Beredas and I had a conversation, and he talked about that where they ride in San Diego, they don't do all this yelling. You know, they know that car is back. They know what the car is gonna do. You know, every now and then I'm copying Jennifer, because Jennifer says when we're riding with them, she'll say passing, meaning, yeah, we know the car is back, but it's passing. So this is what she's saying: don't jump out of the line or don't pull off. I heard her do that a few times, and I kind of like that. I was like, you know, that makes sense. And this is the way my brain works. If it makes sense, why not?
Wanna get in?
I'll try anything. Paul asking Laura if she wants to get it. Laura's all stealth today. Stealthy outfit. So what I'm saying is, passing just makes sense because you're letting us know the car is passing, meaning this is not the time to jump to the left, you know, like you've seen some riders do in our group rides. And I like that. So I've been doing that periodically where the car is coming along and I let the guys in front of me know passing. But I don't yell it to where I'm startling them. And that's another thing. Some riders will say car back to where your heart flutters, if you know what I mean. I'm being dramatic. But you know, just the tone is like with a panic sound in their voice. Don't do that. Be informational. Because there's no danger. The car is coming by. Unless there's danger, you don't need to be panicky when you say it. Don't startle the rider. You don't need to be yelling. Just say it. Car back. You know? And I'm used to just saying car back and expect the rider in front of me to kind of carry it along and say car back, and then the next rider take it. So we keep that speech or the conversation in our group, not yelling it out for the world, because the riders far away from you with the wind, they don't get anything legible. They just hear a yell, and that yell can startle people. Because we're on a ride on Memorial Day, not Memorial Day, Labor Day, the day before I'm doing this. This is yesterday. We were riding, and somebody yelled something on the ride, and we all laughed about it. I just told him, I said, I think it was Mark, and I said, Mark, you scared us half to death. And then we all laughed about it. But the way he yelled, it was like a panic, and it wasn't something dangerous. He was just yelling about, I think, out a hole or a block on the road or something, some hazard. But it was scary. So when he yelled, the guy behind him named Scott hit his brakes and kind of swerved out of the way, reacting to it. Nothing dangerous, but his tone made that guy react like there was something dangerous. That's what I mean. So you got to kind of say it in a calmer way. You know, car back. You're informing the riders that car back. It's not like the car is going to run us over. Just say car back. I hope you get it. You know, it's just kind of like, you know. So a lot of times I don't like to say much because every rider should know that we're sharing the roads with cars. So before you start making lateral moves into the traffic side of the lane. Check. You know, that's another thing I don't depend on. I mean, a lot of riders have the Garmin Varia with the beeps and whatever. It's nice to have it, but you still got to look because you don't know where that thing is. Guys, like off-road vehicle there. Looks like a recreational vehicle on the right when we go by. This is Race Lake Shores we're going by. But the pace of the group now being, let's say, 18 to 23 on this. That's kind of what I was seeing. 18 to 23, 18 on the bumps. We are now riding super, super hard. So what I'm leading to here, when you get to the front on this kind of a ride, try to do the same thing the rider before you was doing. And keep, you know, you're helping the group. You take a little pull, you get off, get back to the back. But you will see as we get to the overpass, Roy is at the front at that time, and he changes the effort so dramatically that he has to recover once we crest the overpass. And in my mind, I'm like, no, we're gonna keep the group pace. So you will see me ride off the front. I'm not trying to ride off the front. I'm just holding this pace, this effort that we've been holding. Meaning for me, sweet spot, thereabouts. Because what he was doing was he was doing an interval, and that's okay. Many riders do that. They come to the group ride, they'll tell themselves, I'm going to pull for 2 minutes or however long they want to be there, and they're doing an interval. But never do an interval during a group ride that wipes you out to where you can't get back in the wheels. I've said that before. Because the group will not wait for you. They don't miss that. Riders can feel and see the change in pace. It's on the computer. They can feel it in their legs. They know how much more force they have to put into the pedals. So they're not going to feel any sympathy for you if what you did at the front caused you to get blown out the back. In fact, they may go even harder. You guys know what I mean. That's just the competitive drive that's out there. And I think that's fair. If you're going to come and play with an interval during a group ride, you better make sure you don't do it to where when you're done, you're gassed. Because they don't have any obligation to wait for you. That's the reason I said group pacing for this, because this was the main thing that occurred on this ride, and it occurs on a lot of our rides. It's not a problem. We don't deter riders. We let people have their fun, and that's why this group has been growing. We're getting really good attendance, and I like it. That's what we need. I want people to come knowing that it's recreational. Come have your fun, and that's why I load the route every week. I work on the route on Garmin Connect. I build routes so that everybody can have it. So when you do your whatever you want to do and you lose the group, you know how to find the next store or find your way back home. That's what it's about. I don't say anything to anybody. I don't want to slow anybody down. We'll just decide. People decide on their own who they want to follow, how hard they want to go. This lady here, Gabby, in front of Laura, the white kid. Well, it looks like kind of a grayish blue. Anyway, she was talking to Paul earlier about, I found out later, that they're going to go to Taco. And she and Roy will go to Taco. So Roy, I believe, is at the front now. He's in a burgundy kit. So because they're going to Taco, I guess Roy decided to push very hard. So that's okay, but just make sure, just because you're going short, if you push hard, we have no obligation to wait for you. In fact, if I know that's what you're doing and you start struggling, and I'm feeling good, I'm going to keep the pace high. And I'm not the only one that does that. You know, you need to, and when I say keep the pace high, meaning keep the group pace. I've been talking about that for years on this channel. The train is moving at a certain pace. You jump off the front or you push yourself, you better make sure you got enough to get back in that line. That's just normal. Whether you're riding with a group, riding in a race, whatever. You got to learn that. That's part of the training. You don't just train physically, you train mentally. You learn tactics. That's important. So as we approach the overpass, I want you to look. It's gonna be hard for you to tell by the watts, I guess. Because usually we'll do 350, 400. It varies what we do here. But on this particular ride, based on what we have been doing up to this point, the pace went up at least 25 to 30% more. I'm estimating. Right here, look at my body language. I am putting some force into those pedals. The pace has increased. And the reason you see me doing that is I'm keeping my gear low because we still got a lot more climbing to go, and the pace just picked up so dramatically. And the reason I'm keeping my gear reasonable is I don't want my legs to be toast at the top. And I know how Roy rides. Look at my heart rate, 171. It went up 10 beats, and I'm in pretty good condition. So a 10 beat change, we did a lot of work. Right here, he turns off the power, and I'm like, okay. See, I'd much rather I would have gone more consistently and just kept the group going. We're slowing down too much here. Look at 3 watts. There's no reason for that. So I go ahead and just decide, you know, I figured he was just taking a little break, but he was trying to catch his breath. He went so hard that he was trying to rest. You don't get the rest at the front. So I just keep riding. It's like, this is just, we're going too slow. I just keep riding. That is not an attack. I'm just riding. He looks at me as I go by, and he does not come over. I move over a little bit because I wanted him to work to get on my wheel. But he did not want to lift. He was still taking a break. That's why you see that gap. I'm not going any harder. You can see my heart rate 162. That's right at sweet spot. That's what we've been doing. So I'm holding the group pace to just show that. So he's still catching his breath. Then Doug's going to go around him because Doug is on his wheel right now. We're going to be turning in probably about 200 meters. There is a Capitol Road coming up. I look in my mirror and I see the gap, and I'm very surprised because I'm not riding faster than the group was. Just based on effort alone. I mean, 100 and something watts, that doesn't get you off the front. That means he was just really slowed down. He slowed down dramatically. That's what I was talking about. You don't get to do that often in front of group. You slow down like that, they're gone. Especially a very punchy group. Somebody will counterattack you, and you know, and you're gonna be off the back. So do your intervals wisely when you're with the group.
Clear.
And so even though I've slowed down for this turn, after we turn, in a little bit, you won't see Roy again. Roy's is going to be forced to the back because he's still recovering. He went too hard up there because we're going, this wind was in our face because it was a nice, cool morning. The wind will shift later, but right now we're dealing with it. And right here when we turn, there's a bit of an incline. So that's, you're not going to see Roy again. He's going to sit at the back to try to rest up. So he was fortunate that the group wasn't going very hard. Compared to what we usually do up here. So nothing's wrong with that, but when you pull at the front like that, save a little something so you can get back in and be able to go. I'm riding on the right there. I was hoping somebody would come around, but nobody does, so I keep riding. I think Doug is behind me now. So there's Doug and then Andrea, the guy in the Sun and Ski kit, and this is Gabby and Laura. I think Gabby is short for Gabriela. For some reason, I like the full name, like Gabriela. It's a beautiful name. I guess, you know, everybody gets a little short version, but not everybody wants to say Gabriela. I think maybe it's a U.S. thing. We always shorten things. So I moved to the right a little bit. I think Doug's going to take the lead. And I'm going to get, I think, in front of Gabriela. And Loretta is here in stealth. See, Laura's got the little green line up. Let's see if we get a kid again. Laura does nothing by accident. I always give her a hard time. Look at it. You see the little green line on the kit? Now look at the shoes. That line on the kit matches the shoes. Then the bottom of the shoes black matches. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Those are the things I spot. But that's a great combination there. That's how you do it. I knowing Laura, that's not an accident. When she was picking that kit and deciding what shoe to wear, she saw that green. She's like, okay, this will go with this shoe. Laura has Veloharmony in her blood. Laura is like like she could be an interior decorator. She has a good eye. Plus, she's a killer on the bike. Anyway, she's a beast. Don't let her fool you. So when I grow up, I want to be like Mo and Laura and Paulie Longa. Paul rode from his house on this ride to me. Then we did this ride, which was long. Then he rode back home. You know, it was hot by the time we got back. I was like, man, I told my wife, I said, Paul is getting the kilometers in. Oh, man. So he probably missed a few training sessions, or maybe he didn't ride as long during the week, so he decided to think today was a long day for him. We're on Raven Chapel Road in Bonnier, Texas. I love this road. It's just nice. This is one of the roads where, with the growth in the area, not much has changed. I guess it's settled the way the people own their property. There's not a whole lot changing. It's nice. These kind of roads, maintaining the ambiance. You know how it is. There are certain areas we used to go to. All of a sudden, we show up, the trees are gone. Then you see a 7-Eleven or a gas station being built. Oh, come on, really? That's what I mean. This area has stayed like this. I'm sure it won't stay like this forever, but it's nice. Yeah, look at that. Nice and tight. So yeah, I mean, I said we're not going. That's Roy. He's sitting back behind Darren. He's got a good person to draft to catch his breath. Yeah, so it's like Mike Bradbury sitting behind Frank back there. This is the kind of pace when you're doing, let's say you sit up there, you take your cuts, you pull off, the next person can continue because it's steady, so you get a lot of help. But if you continually keep jumping, you're going to start getting breakaways. As Mike Barreras always says, you're gonna pry a gap. So if that's your goal, to pry a gap, yeah, you'll get a gap, but hopefully you can either maintain that gap or get similar thinking riders that will go with you and work with you. Because if you don't, then you will have to slow down because it's not really necessarily sustainable. A train like this will probably catch you if you go off by yourself and you're not that much faster than the group, you know.
Come back.
But that's all part of the fun. To see whether you can pry. Mike Barreras is very sneaky. He's a wizard. So like on Mill Route, he'll use the little driveway, then go through the left turn fast, and in that corner he starts to work that gap. And then we have to work because on Mill Route it's a grade. I've seen him do that many times. We end up stopping, and then Andrea waves the car, so the car goes. It's a four-way. We continue, and that was well executed. We're not late for anything. This is the event. As we go through that downshift, because I remain seated, because that's a grade, and you feel it. I don't see it registering. Maybe it registered before I mentioned it. But it's about 1.5–2%. You feel it, especially after you come from a stop at the stop sign. I tried not to use too much energy because in about probably 100 meters, we're going to start climbing. A little bump, 3.5%. I think we climbed it fairly sensibly. It was not as hard as Roy had gone on the overpass, I don't think. But it was hard. And when I'm climbing these things, all I'm trying to do is, am I in my gear that will enable me, if necessary, to accelerate at the summit. I don't want to slow down at the summit. I want to ride the hill and what I call finish the hill. You want to finish the hill. You should not be slowing down right here as it gets steeper. You should be in a rhythm to where, should need be, you can either hold the same pace or go faster. That's why you carry these gears. See my cadence about 90-something. I slowed down to 80. I must have shifted up. Sometimes I like to push.
Come back.
I think think it's a diesel. There are a couple of diesels that passed. I think the first one went. I think it's another diesel. Yeah, the big boy, dump truck. I used to love having the toys of those when I was a little kid. It was tough looking. I like them caterpillars. It just looked tough. I mean, look at that thing. That's what you need to drive in the Houston area. You got crazy drivers in the metro area. That's what you should be driving. You hit one of those boys, you're bouncing off. I don't know if you can tell, I don't like driving in our town. We have a high percentage of reckless drivers. Everybody just seems to be rushing everywhere. And they're our neighbors. They're not falling from Mars. They live here with us. Just rushing around because the city's so big, everybody's in a hurry. That's our town. So we pay high insurance rates in Harris County. So when you move from other parts of Texas and you come to the Houston-Harris County area, your rates go up. We're historically noted for just a bunch of fender benders, so to speak. I still haven't had the time to put my blue bike back together, the shifter. I've just been busy with other things. I've got the kit. I just need to assemble it, but I'm painting other people's houses right now, so to speak. And so I'm riding this bike and the Colnago. The Colnago has been called into action. Somebody lifted the pace in that curve, and that's what I'm saying. That things will change. There is no, don't get too authoritative on your group. Oh, you got to do 20 miles an hour. Well, if it was a ride where we're trying to go slow and somebody wants to let them go, break it up. You guys be at the store. Let people have their fun. That would help your group attract more riders. So what's her name? Gabby. That's Andrea. He's pulled off. Gabby and Roy and some other people, they turned back from Taco. Either because of time constraints, they didn't have the hours to invest, or they didn't want to go that fast, that far today. We're gonna get back. And that's okay. There are some holes on this road that you can't see. The pavement has just dipped, sunk in, and you can't see them. So that's what I was pointing out. When you go over, it's like a blip. You go in a little hole. It's not fun. This is where Mike Barrera would jump on that driveway right on the right and then carry a lot of speed in and pry a gap, as he calls it. He's not riding today. I spoke to him after the ride. We talked on the phone in the evening, but he took the day off. I had pretty good legs on this ride. I went back and kind of reviewed my week. I got to try to replicate. That's Doug and Frankie behind Doug. Frank behind Doug. Darren in the distance. Look at that sun. It's beautiful. It's a good shot. Gears reasonable here. I want to stay as close to 90 as possible because when we get to there's a corner in here in the distance where we go up that climb, it kind of snakes away. That's a grade right there. So you got to keep your gears supple so that you're not bogged down. You can see Gabby is going to accelerate a little because Laura will probably downshift as the grade kicks in if she wants to stay up there. In a little bit, I think she'll pull off. We're working here. It is a sustainable tempo. Laura pulls off. Gabriella takes over. I mentioned to Paul that I think that she stayed up here too long. But this pace was hard. And he said, maybe because she was going over to Taco, she wanted to work. but in a little bit you will see her shoulders and everything get into it because she's searching for power. And then what's his name? Frank will come to the front to give her a wheel. And when we got to the store, Doug was like, we don't do that for guys. I don't know why guys do that when women are up there. He said, I'm going to sit behind them until they get off. That was my plan. I was going to stay till she got off. If you're pulling, you need to know when to get off. I'm not going to go around you to help you. You don't have to stay there any allotted time. You choose to do. If it's 10 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, that's up to you. So I'm just sitting and waiting for her to get off because right here, I can see she's working really hard. So Paulie Long, I said, maybe she wanted to do the work. Okay, that's fine because she was just going to taco. And that's probably what her intent was. She's going to taco. It's about probably 8 kilometers, 5 miles away. So figure you can see, you see that? She's working really hard. But that's basically, you're letting everybody know, kind of like Mo says, blood in the water. If you're doing all that rocking, that's why he came up there. Because he saw all that rocking. That rocking says you're searching for power that's not in the legs. My thing was, you want to get off, you get off the front. I'm not going around. There's no male, female stuff. We're on these rides, you're a cyclist. I'm not going to do anything differently than I would do for a guy. If a guy is up there pulling, he doesn't get off the front, I'll let him pull till his legs die. She pulled off here. So now Frank's going to misfire too because he comes to the front. That took a lot of effort to come on that grade, to come to the front to be chivalrous. So I guess chivalry is not dead in Texas. So he came up, he did all that work, and then a little bit when we started to go up the last little bump before we leave Milrock, I think somewhere here, I just feel him slowing down. Because all I'm doing is holding the same rhythm, and I feel him slowing down. I don't want to change my tempo. You'll see me go around. That's the reason I go around. He moved a little to the left, so I said, okay, let me just go, because he slowed down right there. So I guess that was his way of saying I'm done. And then I just go through and try to get into some kind of a rhythm. So what I'm thinking now is, okay, we got 2854 coming along. I'm not trying to do anything crazy here. Same effort. We got a couple of riders that are not with our group. You see them in the distance there. And a lot of times when you see riders, there's a tendency to start chasing. I have no interest in it. At this point, I'm just holding the pace because when we turn right at this morning, the wind's blowing from the northeast. So when we turn right on 2854, it is going to hit us, and that road is like, it's kind of tricky. What you call ninja grade. You turn on the road and it feels like it looks like it's flat, but it feels like it's not. And it's a different rhythm, especially after waiting for a car here. Now these guys are gonna do something that's a little odd. I will mention it. Those two guys, they turn into the road and a car is coming. It's not very close, but it turned into the main lane. Don't do that. Turn on the shoulder if you must. You see where I am? That guy went in the lane, the guy's gonna blow. That's why he blew. He moved, he blew. Because he didn't know. See, I look behind, then I go. And I want to get around it because they're not going. This road is what I'm talking about. This road is a slight grade. You notice the second car didn't blow. I looked behind, he was far away. He saw me make my move before it was close. Those guys turned into the lane. It was too close to that other guy. So he blew. He was basically saying, I'm coming. Don't come out here. And you saw he moved over. So when you turn on these roads, if you must turn and there's a car coming, turn onto the shoulder, or better yet, stop at the corner or slow down, let that car go, because the driver doesn't know what you're doing. And all he sees is cyclists turning. That's all he sees. So his thing is like, this guy's going to get in front of me. That's what that was about. So let's not do that. Let's make it clear what we plan to do. This road, this right here, the effort is odd, meaning we turn, we hit a grade, the wind, and I'm trying to reorient my body into some kind of a rhythm. That's what's going on here. It's not comfortable at all. I'm trying to get a rhythm here. see the speeds go down. I'm not trying to impress. The speeds are going down because of grade and the wind. This is all new pavement. Last week it was graded to where it was rough, and they laid this stretch. It was a short stretch that was rough, so it's nice. We got 2854 back now. They just need to do a little bit of sweeping. This is a right turn lane we're in. I'm not going to use that shoulder because this right turn lane goes. You see those houses on the right? That's a community. That's for them. So we stay next to the white line and use the right turn lane. So I'm on the fence as to whether I would get another set of tubulars, either 202s or clinchers. So those of you who have had the experience and you're watching this film and you hear this, share your experiences. I will also put a comment on there that spurs some discussion. I kind of want some input from people who have been riding them. I really like the tubulars because I have not had any pinch flats or anything. Yeah, you got to carry another tire with you when you use them. I carry the stands, but man, they just seem to work so much better than, you know, hitting a bump and getting snake bites. You don't get snake bites with these guys. It's a lot more work trying to glue them on because I use glue. I don't use tape. I use glue. So right here, I'm finally finding a rhythm. Even though the speed's low, I have a rhythm, and you see the effort is the same. Sweet spot, 160 to 164. That's what we've been doing the whole time, keeping the group pace. It's a long day for us, you know. That's all I'm thinking about. Turns it around. Doug's taking a drink. Doug's in the WCC colors. I like that kid. You know, I like blue anyway. My daughter's favorite color is blue as well. I like the way they did that kid. It's nice. Okay, black and blue. That means they're gonna beat you up. WCC gonna make you black and blue. Oh man, look at that road. Beautiful, new asphalt. The FM 2854. So right here in my mind, I'm like, okay, as soon as we get to the top of the hill, I'm gonna let Paul take the lead. Don't like to change the lead on the climb unless I'm really cooked. I'm not. I'm working really well. My legs feel good. I'm in a gear. I'm doing an effort that if somebody were to come around, I can accelerate. So I'm not pedaling squares, so to speak. So I let Paul. Tell Paul he's going to hand me the camera. Look at this asphalt. It's just beautiful. They're not done. They still got to blend that. You saw that driveway we just passed, kind of about a foot lower or so, about 3/4 of a foot lower. They got to blend into the side roads. Did a good job. It was a reasonable shoulder, like it wider. You see all the little pieces. There's a little loose asphalt that they dropped. Right on the shoulder. Whenever I go over things like those, I take a load off the bike. I put my weight on the pedals. That's Richard Lamb up there in the Sun and Skis kit, followed by Hunter. Yeah, that's Max yelling bump. I don't know why he does that. It's ineffective. He needs to stop it. So don't pick that up. You're riding, stop yelling. Just point, wave, whatever. Do a gesture. I don't care how much you have to gesticulate. Just gesture. Because nobody can hear that clearly. When you say bomb, then people are, where's the bomb? Then by then it's late. So what's the point of that? Point to it. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a bump, roadkill, whatever, just point. People know. If you point, you're basically saying something's there, don't ride there. We get that. Other than car back and car up, cut out all this stuff. Early in the morning, all this yelling not necessary. Look at this asphalt. This is beautiful. Now, one thing about Texas now, they don't mess around with the road.
Hurry it up.
We'll spend money on the road. Some of the projects take a while. We catch the green. This is rare. So I noticed from the body language of this gentleman on the felt. That's one of the guys I think we passed. I don't know. Maybe he started with us, but he's got his little clip-on bars. So it tells me he wants to hang off the back of the group. He's more comfortable with that. Nothing's wrong with that. You're working harder, but yeah, eventually it will get you stronger. It doesn't kill you, it'll make you stronger. So I go around and I lift the pace, see the rocks, and ride up, because we're going up this little grade. Lone Star Park is a bit of a grade. I'm gonna go around this guy too, because he's got clip-ons too. I think the two of them were together. Those are the two guys that turned back at mill route over 2854. That's my computer saying he'll start. About 23 miles an hour onto this. It's about 2 to 2.5%, and it's long and it's exposed. I'll sit on Jennifer's right here. Jennifer's kit. Jennifer's matching like Laura does. She's got that white arm sleeve to keep that sun exposure down. I've been able to wear my arm sleeve for sun. But her socks match the kit and the bands on it are right. I like those kind of things that pick up, because her legs are spinning, so that white band on the sock, very visible. See Laura's sock got a little band on the back. I think that's what's the Italian flag or something. But whatever it is, that's what you see, the contrast. So whenever possible, have a busy pair of socks. Because your legs are moving. That's what the drivers will see more often than not. Especially in low light situations. That's why a lot of shoes will have reflectors on the back or reflectorized surfaces on the rear. Because your feet are moving. That motion catches the eye. And they can gauge how far you are because you move. Because that's moving. The steady lights is harder to gauge what the distance is. There's a part of the group off the front right there. I don't know if you can see in the distance. This is about when I noticed it, but we're already at Taco. It didn't matter. And it's like they just kind of crawled off the front a bit on that climb. It's leveled off here. It's very exposed at the top. In the winter, we get pounded up here. It's a Lone Star Parkway. We're going to be turning right to go to Taco Corner. Usually at Taco Corner, it takes about an hour to get there. Yeah, 102. So yeah, we didn't go super fast today. Fast enough with the wind the way it was. You see how Jennifer's taking her line? I stay inside. I'm still behind her, but that kind of lets her freely turn and it keeps the distance. So when you're turning alongside another rider, if you're on the inside, you got to take an inside line. You can't go swing out and the rider's there. I've had people do that in the past, not in this group, just other rides. But you've got to learn that so people are comfortable riding against you. So she kept her line. She went outside. She stayed outside. Even though I wasn't very close, she knew I was on the inside. So she kept her wide arc turn. And then if you are going to change, you got to look. Taco Corner in the distance. So I don't know what you did this weekend, but this is part of what we did on Saturday. And then we had some riders turn back from this store. There are many ways to get back. You can go back to where we came, or you can do Spring Branch. But we went into the forest. And it was hectic, so to speak. Very good workout. So remember, get your K's in and keep every doctor fire.
was like, it was only in front of me, like 69. Well, yeah, second on the wind anyway, right?